what's Macca doing? I feel like he should get dropped this week. If they're reviewing it and think there's potential evidence, stop it at the first stoppage. Don't let 2 other stoppages happen where the fans are going to be even more pissed off, because if you're reviewing it, there's clearly something that could be wrong.
G'day everyone, welcome back to Zero Access Footy, episode number 10. We're into double digits for season 2026. My name is Reese, I'm joined again with Bem.
Indeed.
And we are going to have a look at everything ANZAC round to get started off with. Of course, a load of controversy that the AFL keeps finding a way to stir up that we're going to be talking about, as well as some further analysis on a certain team who has struggled to start considering the high expectations. But we'll get started with our ANZAC round recap. And the first game we want to have a look at is Hawthorn versus the Suns. This was a game that very easily should have been competitive. I think we both had mentioned on the pod the Suns. But as the weekend was going, Ben's got a few hiccups. Just let him be for a bit. But look, the way that this game was hyped up by us was that it was going to be a really close game, 2 really, really competitive sides that were going to do their best to make it competitive. And, I mean, Gold Coast tried, but Hawthorn just looked a level above.
They were so, inadequate as a football club in the first 40 minutes of this game. Gold Coast. They, halfway through the second quarter, it was already a 45-point lead. And their midfield was putrid. We were talking about this on paper, their midfield should really be able to get on top here. It's their first time with all 3 midfielders in Rowell, Anderson and Petrarca playing together. And then they just came out and they looked like they were expecting it to happen for them. And the Hawks were just able to ground them down and were able to get really going. And sort of between the halfway through the second and halfway through the third, the Suns were able to come back. I think they got it within 9 points. I don't think they ever got it within a single goal, but it got close. And they were just scoring from stoppage for a while. But then after that, there was a 1 quarter essentially where Gold Coast played well. Because after that, it was a tough 15-metre penalty paid. But, they were just completely out of the game. They looked really poor. Yeah, and on top of that midfield scenario, I wanted to have a look at the Ruck versus Ruck scenario into this one. Because I think you mentioned it previous week as well. Hawthorn have got a bit of an identity going with the double Ruck combo in Ned Reeves and Lloyd Meek. And combined, they crushed Jarrod, Witts and all of Gold Coast because they did try to use 3 of their 4 tall forwards in the ruck. Macca, Ethan Reid and Jed Walter all have at least 1 hit out, but Jarrod Witts had 26. He was the highest for the match. Ned Reeves had 24. And then add on top Lloyd Meeks 18. Yeah. Hawthorn got first crack at it every time. So it makes you think, is Jarrod Witts more of the change that we need to make here? I think we'll talk further about it, but in terms of this game, what is Jarrod Witts' impact in terms of how teams are able to beat Gold Coast's midfield so convincingly, it felt like? It has been a little bit of a problem for them. They had at times, I think against Sydney, put Mac Andrew in the ruck in the second half. And that worked a lot better. They've still got Ned Moyle in the 2s as well, developing really nicely, but they just cannot give him any game time for whatever reason. He used to be really effective in the contests and not necessarily as much around the ground. And now when he still can't do it around the ground and isn't providing that sort of direct service to his midfielders in the middle, you got to question what's his value to this team aside from the pure leadership that he does provide. Because if he's not getting it done, then it's very easily something you might need to change.
Yep. And this is also an interesting game as it marked Jamara Ugle-Hagen's return. It's good to see him getting some AFL games into him again. It's been a long time coming, so it's really nice to see that he's kept himself out of the spotlight, whether that's because other teams have been doing a good job of putting themselves in it or not. But Jamara has been really, really good up at Gold Coast in the 2s. He's been working hard. Yep. He hasn't been using that number 1 pick as kind of like a guaranteed spot.
He's working for it because he's now on a 1-year deal, which wouldn't normally be guaranteed for a first overall pick.
Yep. So Jamara, credit to you, mate. Well done. That's it's good to see you back, and you kicked a goal in your return.
Yes,
which is nice to see.
We'll talk more about the Suns in a minute because it's really hard to sort of see where they come back through now to sort of reach the heights that they wanted. But for the Hawks, once again, just a phenomenal effort, and to be able to do this against a team that has incredible talent, I think is convincingly more talented than the Hawks themselves. It's really well done. Jack Gunston.
5 goals. Once
ridiculous.
Again, he's turned back the clock, and it's not just a one-off fluke season. He's found a second life.
It's not normal for a guy at his age after
he's
the
in his
issues
prime.
he's had.
That's what he is. He's not normal. His prime.
He's arguably had his 2 best years over the last year and a bit, which is crazy to say. Their backline, obviously no Sicily this week, stood up once again. I thought Jack Scrimshaw, who somehow broke 7 tackles.
That's unreal. For Jack Scrimshaw, that's not the bloke that I expect to be doing stuff. I expect like Weddle to be doing stuff like that.
You'd think so. But no, it's Jack Scrimshaw, and it's part of what we'll talk about with Gold Coast with their forward issues. But as a whole, the Hawks broke 21 or 27 tackles throughout the game, and you're just like, the effort's not there from from Gold Coast, but Hawthorn are capitalising.
Well, I'm looking through this, and like another story from Hawthorn, Finn McGuinness's return. He literally got injured at that ground that he came back and played for his, or maybe not at that
second game.
Ground.
He played opening round and then got dropped.
That's it.
Then came back
Either way, my thinking throughout this game was, sure, Sicily's not there, but who's going to replace the impact that Dylan Moore also brings?
Yeah.
Finn McGuinness, 2 goals, 24 disposals. I know that Sam Mitchell has outwardly said that Dylan Moore's perfect game is 3 goals, 20 disposals. 2 goals, 24, like that's pretty damn close. To just bring that guy in and get that happening is a fantastic result for the Hawthorn Hawks. And a 49-point win is, it's not something to scoff at. These guys are more than the real deal now. And they're unbelievable.
They really flexed their abilities. And a team that also did that was Port Adelaide, demolishing the Cats in the end. The scoreboard did not reflect what this game really looked like.
I couldn't believe that the power looked just so dominant attacking.
Yeah.
Like 10 scoring shots for Georgiades. This could have been a day out for him.
He had 6 in the first quarter.
4 goals, 6 overall for the game. Ridiculous output from Georgiades, but what else do you expect? He's been so good all year, all last year.
Might be one of the most under-talked about players in the league.
You say it every time, but I can't help but agree because it keeps happening. Like Josh Tracy took his mantle, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
But Georgiades has been consistent. And on top of that, Horne-Francis has been asked to take more and more of the impact game that people want from him and turn it into a consistent thing. Thank God they got it at least in this one. They got it in spades in this game.
Yeah.
1 goal, 34 disposals, 6 marks, 4 tackles, 12 clearances.
Ridiculous.
really good output from Horne-Francis. Like, it's the danger that, I guess the danger in him, in a sense, you know, Paddy Dangerfield, how impactful he is with ball and the wrecking ball he can be. You know, just a shame it's happening in a power uniform, but, you know, that's long gone. Long gone by now. Jace Burgoyne had his, like, once every month really good game.
Surprise. Wood's not on the bingo card. A big thing that I noticed was their ruckman. Just like for Geelong, it's just so clear that they're lacking that big-bodied person to be able to compete in the middle and even around the ground. Like their ruckman might not be able to do so well in the middle, but they're so good around the ground, like a Tim English or a Luke Jackson, that it makes up for that deficiency. Geelong have it just a deficiency everywhere in that position.
Yeah,
and now with Mark Blitzarves going down, it doesn't look to be getting any better. And something that I really noticed was the way Port defended the ground was superb. And Geelong aren't known for like a straight down the line team where they take big contested marks. That's not what Jeremy Cameron is. Shannon Neal can do it, but like they don't have anyone else to do it. That's never been a ruckman's job for them. They're always trying to find avenues around that with their great ball movement. But the way Port defended is they were essentially defending in L shapes.
Yep.
So it was, let's say, 3 Port defenders, 1-1-1. You had 2 Cats players. You could either rotate and make it a 2-on-1, and then you still have someone else there, or you were just able to go 1-on-1, and then you outnumber them at the ground level. And that completely nullified Geelong's ball movement. They could not get the ball out of their defensive half, and it was phenomenal work from Josh Carr. I've been heavy on his criticism. He absolutely outclassed.
I was going to say, do you think that is maybe something that you'll see a bit more from other teams, whether it's trying to work out how to beat an L-style defense, or whether it is people trying to replicate it in their own way, or hell, just copying it? Do you think it's something people and other teams will try to build off of?
No, because you can't just like sort of change your defensive structure because it's so hard to learn something within a game. It's probably something that they've been looking at for a while, or they don't have a set structure, and that's just something that they went to. So I think other teams who do have a set structure won't just change it for 1 week. They'll back in their own system.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I mentioned before, Josh Carr did a phenomenal job on the weekend, but a lot of talk now has come out about the Cats, and is this not just a mare? Is this actually something we're going to start to see more consistently from them? Is their reign finally over?
Oh man, that's a big call because like I've said it so many times before. This team just never looks like they're going to go down. Look, the thing is, they've got talent, experience, youth on the rise. They've got all of the typical things you would need, and they've got one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen.
Yes.
In Chris Scott.
Yep.
I don't know where it's going to happen from, because I still believe, unless it's just a complete tumble at the top, because Bailey Smith would need to go AWOL. Tom Stewart would need to get hurt. Their game plan would need to be picked apart so well, but you just don't see that happening with a Chris Scott-led team. I think they're still top 8 bound. I think this team, like, whether they're a wildcard team or not, I'm not too sure. But I just don't see this team ever being able to fall off the horse with the tools that they have. They just look like, unless they would have a ridiculously injury-hampered season, this team would be able to hold on and bring something to the table every week. You'd always have to understand that they're a threat. They're a team that can hit you with many different things. Some things you thought they would never be able to pick up. Like, that's how talented they are from top to bottom.
Yep.
So I guess you just try to attack their weaknesses, really, is the best you can do. They haven't seemed to sort anything out with this whole ruck scenario, as you had mentioned. Like,
it's a big hole.
Port Adelaide had 2 ruckmen who outdid Mitch Edwards. And, I mean, I'll give Mitch Edwards a lot of credit, because he did not come in to do that. He did not come in to play main ruck tonight.
But also,
or in
like,
that game, sorry.
Jordan Sweet doing the shit that he was doing around the ground. Like, have you ever seen a ruckman candy sell twice and then hit up a target on the inside of your foot?
Matt Flynn. I watched him do it against North Melbourne in the game that they won, where he sold the candy outside of the foot, somehow kicked a goal. I'll never get over that. Either way, I understand your point. It's just very unlike Jordan Sweet.
Yeah. And the final thing I want to touch on is what they're doing with Max Holmes. They brought in James Worpel over the offseason. This is his first sort of real game, second game, I believe, where he was playing full-time midfield. And they've essentially just moved Max Holmes out, because they've gone Worpel, Atkins, and Smith. And Holmes is now essentially just a delegated halfback flanker. Like, is his best not as a pure midfielder? I think you'd rather him in there than a James Worpel. So I don't know exactly what Chris Scott's trying to do with him, but
it's like he's trying to welcome him into the team, almost trying to test him out. Like, I can understand the thinking behind it, but when it doesn't work, you open yourself up for criticism.
And when you've got Tanner Bruin having such a good year, you don't need another midfielder like a Worpel in there if you've already got Atkins doing that exact same role.
Yep. Let's move on to a heartbreaking scenario here. The Giants beating North Melbourne in a bit of a shootout.
Yep.
I'm glad it was close at the very least, but my God, if I can't sit here and say I'm not disappointed in the result as a North fan. I wish we'd gotten over the top of them, but it's just the usual problems where sometimes the foot skills let us down a bit more often than it does other teams. And that Orange Tsunami is just the perfect game plan against a team with poor transition defense that North Melbourne has.
Yeah.
But give them credit. They continuously show signs that, they're not that easy beat that teams always consider them to be, especially over the last decade. But look, a few points here and there that I'll bring up. I think Cooper Trembath's first poor game. A lot of hype to Cooper Trembath as of recent, and he just did not have it in this one. I'm not exactly sure why. It could be because he never got that opportunity to really go full-time ruck like he was when Tristan Sherry was out, to give himself something else to get him involved. But 0 goals, 4 disposals, couple of hit-outs. Tried to put on the pressure and do the little things, but just a lot less impactful from what I've seen from him. Halfbacks have been criticised for their lack of, impact and lack of push, which is, I think, a one-off this season so far. Luke Parker has been getting a lot of praise. Caleb Daniel has had a much better start this year than he did last year. But, of course, it's not enough against a Giants team who will eat you alive if you miss your targets. And, unfortunately, the Roos just did too much of that, which is, unfortunately, a way too common story. Sheasel didn't look too bothered by whatever hand injury he had. He was noted that a few times. Sherry came back and just put up monster stats.
Looking like Gary Payton.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Harry Sheasel's hand, and Larky with a good output. Like, there's good things from the game. Everything but the win is really all it was. I'll stop talking about North, though. Actually, last thing, LDU, a bit quiet, a lot quieter than we would have liked him to be. And Charlie Comben being a laid out definitely hurt. But let's look at the Giants side of things, because this is a nice little spark, hopefully, for them.
Yeah.
To get a win against a side that is improving, I think gives them a lot of hope. Shows that they haven't fallen off the horse as far as they may think they have. Traby Green, 2 goals straight.
Superstar.
Beautiful stuff. Exactly what they needed. Whitfield and Ash, literally like as close to identical as possible. Having 2 Lockie Whitfields, basically, is very, very helpful for a side moving off the half-back and with that type of transition game style. Clayton Oliver, actually a bit less than what he's been putting in terms of output as of recent. But I think he has got himself an upcoming hearing at the Tribunal, I believe.
I don't think so.
No, someone on GWS did. I can't remember for certain, but all I know is there's someone in trouble. But the big talk about this one will be, of course, the fact that...
Just fined for umpire conduct.
There you go. That's it. That's what I've been hearing. Either way, remember that one when that was a big deal? The umpire contact stuff?
They don't care anymore.
They do not care. All players have just learnt to go around it. But, just really high scoring. Defensively, of course, North have still got those problems that they're going to look out for. But in terms of your output, the Giants got more than what they have gotten, I feel like, for the first month and a half from their forward line. Stringer with 3. Cadman in a return with 3. Hogan finally showing some signs of life with 2. Of course, Toby Green, as we mentioned, the 2. It's like, this is the stuff that they needed big time. And Phoenix Gothard, look, he didn't have a good game, but he at least put a goal on the board, and he's just his usual chaotic self in that Giants forward line. So, lot to be happy with.
It was a critical win for them to be able to get this on the board.
4 points is 4 points.
You guys pushed them all the way.
Yep.
Like, you guys, this is the type of performance that is really important to your development, because had you have lost by 4 goals, it would have been like, oh, we were never really in it. But this shows hope for you guys. For the Giants, though, this really gets their season back on track.
Yep.
Important win, gets them sort of back into the contention of the play-in game, really. The wild card round, which just isn't a wild card round.
What's funny is North is still 6th after this game. They're still sitting 6th, which is really funny. I didn't know that was even possible for us after this game. I thought we were going to hit the wild card at this point, but we're there just by percentage above Gold Coast, which is probably not going to last very long. But either way, unfortunate result for North. Really good result. It was just a team really wanted 4 points in this one. And thankfully, it was actually a high level of skill game. It was actually really entertaining to watch. So, despite not getting the result, North and Giants playing some pretty respectable football.
Can't be too disappointed. The Swans get it done over the Bulldogs in some of the other games as Charlie Curnow finally gets back into form, kicking, 7 goals, was it?
No, I'm not saying that. I nearly said the bad one. Yes,
it was 7 goals too.
Yeah, 7 goals. Chad Warner 3, Armadi 3.
I didn't try to do that on purpose, just quietly. It wasn't meant to be on purpose.
But yeah,
just so happened to be that
from
way.
bad to worse as well with Norton's injury too. It's just like the worst possible 2 weeks you could imagine for the Dogs.
That was horrible watching that live. I genuinely thought there was a chance he'd snapped his neck.
It was awful. It was so bad. Whenever someone lands on their head first like that, you just think the worst. And Blakey even afterwards had this, like, he talked to, in the interview afterwards, he said, we're thinking of you because, like, that was scary. I haven't seen that before.
No.
Where, like, a player's first instinct in an interview is to give his best wishes to the player injured in that type of scenario. That's wild. But, yeah, of course, we hope he's back soon because we don't want to see talent out for too long.
No.
Richmond versus Melbourne, as we kind of expected. Of course, Melbourne's topsy-turvy ways. We thought maybe they'd find a way to lose it. And Tigers were off to a good start. But Melbourne, their game plan clearly just got over the top of Richmond by the end because, like, their cleanliness was super poor. Just watching a full game of Melbourne just showed me how crazy their game plan is because at all times it looks like they're just banging it forward. They're just trying to push it as far as they can. Maybe 1 or 2 backwards kicks, and one of them that I can remember was within the last 2 minutes of the game. So their game plan is super aggressive, and it's so much fun to watch. They're
go Power Rangers, essentially.
Exactly.
Like, just sucks for the Tigers, to be honest. Sucks shit.
Anzac Day. I wish we could talk about this one in excitement. There's just nothing to talk about outside of, the incredible performance from Scott Pendlebury.
Yes, which may or may not get mentioned sooner rather than later.
I wish it was I've got so much, I have so much respect for that game because of the fact that he's closing into the games record. No one would be upset if he just did his usual role. No one would be upset. He's got all the accomplishments he can think of. To put that on the board, man, that is playing with your food. That's
LeBron James.
I was always very questionable about whether he would get to the games record playing impactful footy. That's enough for me to be happy with.
If he went to Richmond, he could play 500.
You reckon so, yeah.
The Blues unable to get it done over the Dockers, who just get another comfortable victory. Shea Bolton and Luke Jackson, 2 critical pickups for the Dockers over the last 3 years, have just stood out significantly.
Yep, they're starting to show their colours. They're starting to look more comfortable in the purple and white. It's looking really, really good for Freo, but give a little bit of credit to the Blues as well. They pushed them. They pushed them.
If this is the type of performance you have in a loss, I think you take that every day of the week.
The problem is they're 1-6, which is what everyone's going to mention.
They are a good 1-16 though. Like
West
Coast,
I agree.
West Coast are 2-5. Carlton are a much better 1-16 than West Coast.
Yeah. Speaking of, their second 100-point loss.
Already.
West Coast. Complete opposite to Saints and West Coast last year.
I'm so glad we got this done. I'm not going to really watch the game again, but, take it. Did we say anything about 100-point victories this year?
I did. I said there was going to be 3 of them. I didn't say there was going to be 2 from the same team. I thought it'd be different teams.
Might be 3 from the same team.
It really could. They've got plenty of rounds to do it. Brisbane versus Adelaide is the last one we'll have a chat about as well. And this was really, really good from their midfield performance for Brisbane.
Chockies.
Just a bit of an uneventful game for me. Not too keen outside of the nice statistical performances from Lachie Neale. Will Ashcroft played well too. I think most of my thoughts were just with Jordan Dawson, how tough a scenario like that is to play a week out from such a horrific, scenario. It's just something you don't want to have to see anyone go through. And it was nice to see Brisbane get around them. It was just a very wholesome game, if I'm being honest. And that is the ANZAC round. Honestly, in terms of storylines and on-field play, player-wise, really, really good week. Outside of West Coast, and maybe you can argue Richmond. So outside of the usuals. Let's move on to, however, I'm going to put in my complaint for it being the best segment now. I think Macca's Man of the Week still can fight for best segment of the week.
I will fight you over it. Don't ever say that again.
I tried, man. I'm just putting the feelers out there. Let us know in the comments who's.
Don't say that, please. Please don't say that.
Let us know. Plugs in the mouth. But let us know in the comments who you think segment is better. Either way, Behmmy, get us off with tribunal tasks.
Yes. There was literally nothing in the actual game of slated games this week.
Yeah.
So
which is good.
Which is really good. I love that. But Lance Collard, the tribunal hearing that happened last week on Thursday. I guess it was a hearing. I guess it wasn't. Got wrapped up. He was downgraded from an initial 9-week suspension to a 4-week suspension, with 2 of those to be suspended until 2027, unless he obviously repeats, in which case it's added on top. The big topic from this was not necessarily the fact that he got downgraded, but more so what the appeals board statement came through and what the chair of the appeals board eventually got sacked for, which was, it is commonplace. This is what he said. This is not what I'm saying. I can promise you that. It is commonplace that players can employ language from time to time which is racist, sexist, or homophobic whilst on the field. This caused a huge uproar.
It's such a wild statement to make, honestly.
What happened in his mind that said, yeah, we want to say this?
Yeah, it's such a weird argument. How they couldn't, even just test that amongst themselves. Hey, what are the arguments that could go against us saying, you can just casually say a slur accidentally,
Taylor Walker's very pissed off.
Tex would be very upset with that reasoning as to why the suspension got off. Oh my God, what a stupid thing to argue.
What an idiot.
How did it work?
How is he on the appeals board?
Yeah, how is that? How has it worked to lower his suspension, really, is the main thing.
I don't think that was the main reason his suspension got lowered.
I get it, but the fact that it's been mentioned.
Yeah, for that to be mentioned and for that to be what they have essentially said in the media is to be the reason is genuinely stupid.
It's just dumb. Just so dumb.
It's dumb all over. I'm dumb a lot of the time. This is worse than anything I've ever done.
Look, and I've also seen quotes from other AFL players themselves. I don't think it's against Lance Collard himself, but more the reasoning behind why he got off. I think a lot of players are very understanding of the fact that it's a bit of a brotherhood. They need to make sure that they're looking after each other because the minute that one feels up, like hard done by, it looks bad on all the players. But this was one of the rare scenarios where I saw, like, Max Gawn was pretty vocal. He said, like, I don't have any problems keeping my mouth shut with language like that on the field, which in my head at first I went, but what about off the field? But look, more the point being said, like it should be, you shouldn't have that vocabulary in general when on the football field. Like it's just also, dumb.
They're media trained.
Yeah, that too.
They should understand I can't just be saying shit. I've got to understand what I'm actually saying. So hurtful language is not what we're going to see in the game. And for them to be saying hurtful language clearly off field, I think is a big thing. But the other thing we want to go through is the ARC debacle.
Oh, my goodness.
Because, oh my God, was there outrage over this over the weekend.
Oh my goodness, was it bad?
First of all, I think we'll start with the Saints one, the Rowan Marshall mark, because I think that was a very clear one that's just going to be changed quickly. They made the rule after the Ben Keys miss, that was actually a goal against Sydney a couple of years ago, that they can now review plays after the ball has gone in play within a reasonable amount of time. The issue with this one on the weekend was that a reasonable amount of time was essentially 2 minutes in real time.
Yeah, like it was not reasonable at all.
I watched the replay and I'm just like, when are they recalling this? Because it went out one time. And the way I'm looking at it is, if they're reviewing it to double check, why not just pause the play whilst they're continuing the review?
The point of it, though, the point of why the systems have been so criticised at the very least as well, is because it's increasing the amount of game time. The AFL wants to shorten the game time.
Yes.
That's no confusing thing at all. But it's more the fact that if you stop the game, you want it to be quick. When it's a really close call like that, it's like that's where the comments of "I wish they didn't have the arc at all" come in, because it's like now you're taking a minute or two to just get a call right. Just get one call right.
Counter argument to that, they want the game to be higher scoring, which makes the games longer. And when they're doing a minute which is meant to be 30 seconds after the goal reviews, that completely ruins the point. I get what you're saying though.
Yeah.
But if they're reviewing it, I think there's potential evidence. Stop it at the first stoppage. Don't let 2 other stoppages happen where the fans are going to be even more pissed off. Because if you're reviewing it, there's clearly something that could be wrong. So whether the decision was right or not isn't the issue. It's the fact that they took so long to make that one. And then in the North game, the Griffin Low one was even more blatantly
That was more
stupid.
egregious. That was way more egregious. And that's not, I promise, that is not just Salty North. That is just not a Salty North fan talking. That is legitimately like one of the ones where you go like, isn't this right? Why this was brought in? So we could have a look at this stuff. And the fact that like they threw the ball up, like the argument was both of the reviewers missed it. And it's still like, why bring the arc in if you can't get it when you've got the angles? That angle's not a hard one to find. No. It didn't feel like.
And the argument that it made an impact on the game, I think, is wrong.
Because you can't. Plus, you can't like guarantee anything's going to happen from it.
Yes, absolutely. But also, you guys kicked a goal directly from the stoppage, so it's just like if it came back and then touched it, you guys don't get that goal.
We also start from all the way at the back, and still, if nothing came from that, nothing came from that kick out, it's 2 points giant still. If they had missed that,
no, but you've got to subtract a goal because you guys kicked a goal straight from the stoppage.
That too. Yeah.
So there was a goal either way, really. That if they had have wrapped it, then takes away from both teams. But the fact still stands that you've got to be able to review a play and see when a guy's going on my life, 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 on my life. Then you've got to think, okay, maybe you touched the ball.
Yeah. Again, it comes back to the procedure they use, though, because, of course, they've only got a certain amount of time before they need to ball it up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ads and stuff run and whatnot for, live TV.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more, once the ball is balled up, you can't do anything about it, which comes into direct contrast with the 2 minute real time. And you go like, I don't know where we go with this. So the review center has made changes. The scenario we saw in the Saints West Coast game will not happen again now.
Well, they're still able to do it within reasonable time.
Yeah,
I
reasonable
believe.
time. But it's more when the play starts again.
Yeah.
When the player's going, you cannot stop it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good change because the less kind of doubt we put in the minds of umpires while live play is happening, the better. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a wrong call, at least a call was made. Sure, people will get upset about it, hence the North stuff. But again, there's procedures and stuff put in play to make sure that it's done quickly and done correctly. What happened in that game was not quick, nor was it correct. Because there was an argument that the call they made after 2 minutes was also wrong. Yeah. Just wild stuff this week from the Arc. Very wild week. Any other comments from Behmmy's Tribunal tasks?
That's all for this week.
That's the week.
Yes.
Now what I
can guarantee you isn't the best segment.
No, you can't steal my thunder like that. Let me have the intro to my segment. Actually, you know what? I took yours. I'll let you.
Thunderstruck.
Okay, you do the intro for this segment then. You do it.
I'm a donkey.
Oh my god, that's
Macca's man of the week.
Macca's man of the week. That's
if you don't know,
clipped by the way.
If you don't know this process, 1 vote, 2 vote, 3 vote, and then he gives his donkey of the week.
I have honourable mentions this week. I've been doing a lot more honourable mentions as of recent, but yes, we do it in Brownlow style. So 1 vote this week for me. In a really surprisingly gutsy performance was Shea Bolton. For me, I gave Shea the 1 vote because when things were looking a little rough in a scenario that they could have lost to Carlton, Shea Bolton managed to get through. I'm not picking Hugo Garcia, by the way. That's not happening. I don't know whether that's what you're trying to...
Stuff Steve is not going to be happy.
What, he's a big fan of Hugo Garcia?
Yes, better.
You scroll too many Instagram reels is what I find out. You just do too much random stuff. I'd love just to get an idea as to what I know producers probably telling me to hurry up, but I'd love to just get a look at your Instagram, For You page one day. That would be so wild.
2 votes.
Why are you trying to move on? 2 votes. Fine. I gave my 2 votes this week to someone who I don't want to say. Can we? I'll say 3 votes as well, as long as we can. I don't want to say his name because it makes me sick thinking about it. Can you move it?
There we go.
Yeah, so you can see his name is... I gave him all the credit he needed in the recap of his game, all right? But I'll give him 2 votes as well.
Voldemort.
It's a pretty disgusting-looking name, so we've censored it for the sake of you guys. But in terms of 3 votes, for me, it was a non-negotiable. 3 votes was Scotty Pendlebury. Scott Pendlebury was... transcended.
Scott Pendlebury was excellent.
The fact that he did what he did at game number 428. Producer,
429 or 431.
Producer would
431. 431.
That was 431?
Yep.
That was the game before he tied it? He ties it next week?
Well, I was not playing against Hawthorn, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Either way, I didn't know he was that close to tying it.
Yes, sir.
Rest in peace, Boomer Harvey's record. Honestly, I'm so sad by that. But
Rest in peace,
to do that right beforehand is unbelievable. Good on Scott. Mm-hmm. Scott Pendlebury. My honourable mentions, though, Jack Gunston, of course, big goal game. Nick Dacos, who arguably could have been the best on ground, but rightfully was given to Scott Pendlebury. Lockie Neal, really good. Really good game from him. And Cozzy Pickett. Yep. He was lighting it up. Got a lot of disposals in the end, but most of his impactful disposals happened throughout the game. So giving him a lot of credit this week.
Yes, sir.
My donkey of the week, we were talking about him before. So Macca's donkey of the week. Do you want to do your impression again? Yeah, whole face
didn't even try doing it.
Yeah, donkey of the week is the AFL Review Centre.
Donkey of the week is the AFL Review Centre.
We've already discussed.
We've already discussed.
What? Why are you?
I'm doing my best donkey impression.
Right. That hurt my feelings. Donkey of the week. Arc. We've already talked about them. We don't need to get any further into depth with them, but let's look at our big picture question this week. So, of course, we discussed them to begin with, but Gold Coast's season, look, it's not hanging by a thread, but it's not off to the start they would have hoped.
Far from it.
Especially with the way they were looking to begin the year. You thought this team would be undefeated by this point with how good they were looking, nearly losing to Essendon. That was not on the bingo card after their win against Geelong round 1. So, what's the deal? What's the deal with these Gold Coast Suns? We've discussed certain problems with them, but where can their improvement come from? Where are their bright spots? And have we maybe been a bit too hype with these guys?
A bit too hype, I feel like, is possibly accurate. But like at the same time, they've brought it on themselves.
All the talent that they've brought in and the fact that they've looked like the best team on paper all off-season.
They continue to improve talent-wise every year. They get rid of players like Flanders and Ben Ainsworth and stuff like that because they're on the outside, and they bring in how many more top 25 picks in the draft? About 5 every year?
Every year, feels like.
So, first of all, I don't want to hear the argument that they're young because they've bought in on the off-season. They've brought in Petrarca for a reason. So I don't get that argument. I also just don't understand what Damien Hardwick's doing with their tools at all. I've been extremely critical about their 3-tool setup. The bloke decided to go with 4 tools on the weekend, but decided to play one of them on the wing. When he was drafted as a ruckman, got played in his first 3 years as a forward, and is now playing on the wing.
Yep.
Aneurysm. Like, they've got issues in the ruck, and they drafted a ruckman 2 years ago, and yet they don't want to play him in the ruck.
Because it's almost like they're trying to do some type of, credit to Jarrod Witts. It's like they almost don't want to switch things up with him, like really badly.
Yeah. And then the other thing is all these draftees that have come through, what are they fighting for? Like, they've trying to prove themselves, so they're trying to do it all me. Like, this is not really to poke names out or like really be harsh on them, but like if I'm Leo Lombard, I really want to impress myself on the weekend. I need to be the one to show that I'm worth this because I want to be a big role in this team. Or if I'm Jake Rogers, I'm doing the same. Or if I'm Will Graham, I'm doing the same. They've got so many of these players that are trying to do this, but it's taking away from everyone else. Whereas when you had Jai Farah in the team last year, when you had Ben Long doing what he was doing last year, when you had all these other players, they were doing their role and they were doing it excellently. But now you've got other players who are trying to do too much and it's taking away from everyone else.
Do you believe that this could be a problem of, not understanding their roles well enough? Maybe their roles haven't been specified well enough in terms of pre-game preparation to all this stuff? Because Leo Lombard has had some moments where he's looked out of place. He's one that I know for certain. Will Graham's looked pretty good. I've liked how he plays, but at the same time, you're right, he is at the end of the day trying to fight to keep his spot because he out of most people, including the likes of those younger blokes that you had mentioned before, they're at the most risk of losing their spot in this team for a much more experienced, much more level-headed player. So you got to think, do these guys understand that the best way they can play is filling their role to the best possible ability? Yeah. Or do they truly believe in their heart of hearts that they are a lot better than what they have been cast off as? I say cast off, but the role they've been given, because I don't think anyone in Gold Coast necessarily is being overlooked by any point. But at the same time, these players could be under the wrong impression. And obviously, we don't know the internals of it all. Yeah. But from the outside, it looks like Leo Lombard wants to get himself up to the half back and run the ball all the way forward. I don't know if that's his role, but he's looked a bit out of place sometimes there.
Yeah, it's such a tough one because
And he started off really good to start the season.
That's the thing. We know that these kids have got talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this team. Otherwise, they wouldn't be top 10 picks every year. But when you've got so many talented players, sometimes you've got to think, okay, if I've got players who can be an 8 out of 10, but also a 2 out of 10 because they're doing too much, and I've got someone who will consistently give me a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 every single week, I feel like I want to put my trust in them more than I do in the kids who have these potentials. And he's got to understand he cannot keep all of them. He can't play every single kid at the same time because A, they're not all going to develop. So you're going to have to, at the same club, you're going to have to let a couple go. You can't play every single key forward on your list in the same forward line and then chuck one of them on the wing because you don't want to lose one of them. I have no doubt in my mind that he's thinking, okay, Jed Walter might leave in the offseason. What's the best way he won't leave? Let's just give him a game
Let's give him freedom almost. Yep. Yeah.
Ben King, what's the best? Okay, he definitely can't be dropped. Jake Rogers, Bailey Humphrey. We just got to play these guys. A forward line of Ben King, Jamar Ugle-Hagan, and then you've got Ben Long, Christian Petrarca, Jai Farah, Bailey Humphrey, Jake Rogers, and then let's say Lockie Weller is a small forward or Took Miller is a small forward who pushes
Lockie
up
Weller
to the stoppage.
kicked 2 goals against Hawthorn, so yeah, that's a good shout.
So if I'm looking at that, I'm looking, everyone has their role. everyone's able to do it to the best of their abilities. And then the chemistry around it is a lot better because we've got players who know what they're meant to be doing. Yeah. Otherwise, they're trying to do too much. If I'm looking at their backline, it's another thing. What's McAndrew doing? I feel like he should get dropped this week.
Yeah, I guess his upside is so high. He's probably the toughest one to drop.
And that's the thing. They've got Joel Jeffrey, who they dropped, but why aren't you dropping the bloke who you don't know where you're meant to be playing?
Yeah.
Joel Jeffrey's locked down his role. Like, you can't drop Sam Collins. Charlie Ballard you've already dropped, and you're playing Oscar Adams over him because he's just trying to find form after a knee injury. Like, what are we doing now?
Yeah, and especially because this was the year that we all thought was their all-in. Yeah. This was the start of their premiership window. We thought that we'd start to see their best players rise to the top, but it's almost like the best players haven't been given the opportunity to, and they're trying to do a bit of a half and half juggle where, we're still keeping a lookout for our future, but we're also contending for premierships. I'm trying to think of a comparison because I don't know if there's any other team outside of teams that have been forced to, like Brisbane when they brought in Logan Morris and Ty Gallup. Like, Gallup was a nice little surprise in last year's season, and Logan Morris likewise when he had a Macca's run and then all of a sudden got picked up for a game. So I'm trying to think of other teams who have been doing like half and half. Collingwood, no, I don't think so because Collingwood still leaned into a lot of their experience. Melbourne, yeah, maybe, but I think they were right in the middle. There was no overly experienced players or really experienced players that they were relying on. All of them were just together for a long time, 100, 150 games together. Like, no one in their 300s while having rookies try and carry the team. What Gold Coast is doing is almost like they're trying to get the best of both worlds. Have their cake and eat it too, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So they're turning into the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, good shout. That's a good shout. They're both gold.
Jonathan Kuminga can win your playoff game, but not on the Warriors.
Yep, exactly right. Look, I think Gold Coast need to settle into one lane, and they need to understand that if they want to win premierships, you can't have the premiership window as well as this sustained success every single year. Yep. Right, this has got to be a year where maybe you do a bit of sacrifice. And I think the problem is if they don't do it now, they'll be forced to later.
Absolutely.
When they're not ready.
And then it's too late.
Yep.
It's either too late or, again, way too early. I'm going to run with that Damien Hardwick is Steve Kerr impression now.
Fair enough,
Think about it. They won 3 and 4.
Who knows? Honestly, I think
Gold Coast, Richmond.
The thing is, we know that Gold Coast are absolutely capable of being that type of team with the talent and with the potential future that they have. But I think they've just got to stick to a lane. They've got to understand, all right, we want to win a premiership this year. We've got to put our best players forward. And fingers crossed that with the development through the VFL and all their other ways, whether through injuries as well, say a player goes down, that's maybe when a Leo Lombard steps up and finds his role, right? It's just about actually getting your best players to step forward. So we'll wait and see. Either way, I think the Suns need to be top 4 by the end of the year.
If they're not, I don't think they can be what they did.
They won't win a premiership this year.
No,
they won't win a premiership this year.
I think it's still a bit early, but they're not going to be that good.
Yeah. Let's go, though, to round number 8 after having that discussion about Gold Coast. Let's have a look at some of the teams in the spotlight. So we've picked 3 of our most sought-after games this week, and the first one is the Pies versus the Hawks. Of course, we continuously talk about the potential of the Pies. They looked pretty schmick, but against an Essendon side who we know have their problems. Yeah. And Hawthorn look a step above with Richmond. With Sydney is what I meant to say. Definitely not with Richmond.
Nope.
But Sydney and Hawthorn feel like the 2 top dogs of the league right now. So it'll be nice to see if the Pies can maybe give them a little scare. I know that the Pies are capable of it.
It'll be interesting.
The Hawks, I wish Gold Coast put up more of a fight because this game would be so much harder to predict if the Suns put up a fight. But for this game in particular, the midfield's just going to have to kill it. I reckon Oscar Steen is going to be a massive call in this one. I reckon he can have a ripper game if he's put in Ruck.
He and Darcy Cameron are going to have to be really critical. And the other thing is, Jack Gunston, we know how good he's been. Pies' backline's been pretty good this year. So can they get it done against him with the way they stretch the ground and keep him really deep?
Yeah. It's just hard to tip against Hawthorn right now.
Yes.
We've said it about plenty of teams so far to start the season, but Hawthorn have clearly come out as one of the favourites for a top 4 spot. Now, I think Hawthorn will need to really put their foot down on this side. I think if they give them a sniff, much like they did Port Adelaide, it'll still kind of be that 1B to Sydney's 1A at the moment. Because I still believe Hawthorn to be the number 1 in power rankings, especially after their win against Gold Coast. But Sydney, they still feel like they've not just got the talent, but they've got the really solid execution.
Yep.
The star power really...
Star power to
the star power is screaming at you with that side. Of course, Hawthorn have some fantastic stars. Ginnivan, Watson, Gunston, Newcomb in there, Sicily. Like, there's everywhere you look, there's something for Hawthorn. But Sydney's field one step above. Heaney, Warner, Goulden when he's healthy. Grundy even. Like, Blakey. Grundy is fantastic. Blakey, Curnow now.
McCartan this year.
McCartan, look, he doesn't jump out as much, but yes, I understand. Even McInerney. Papley's been playing some good footy. There's arguments for both of them, hence 1A, 1B, but this game will really tell me whether, like, all right, Hawthorn know how to put a team to bed. And maybe they have already answered that to some people, but for me, that Port game still kind of put it in my head. Like, there's potential vulnerabilities with this side. Nonetheless, this should be a Hawks win in my head.
Yeah.
But it's just the regards to how much. And if Collingwood could somehow make an upset here, we will have to re-establish our thoughts on Collingwood because...
More so than my thoughts on Hawthorn, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, Hawthorn should be able to absolutely nullify anything Collingwood tried to do hitting the scoreboard. Like, this Pies forward line against this Hawks back line.
They should not put up more than 40 points.
Like, it shouldn't even be close. So I'm pretty content in going Hawks. I feel like it could be a bit of a gap. I'm going 35.
Do you think Collingwood's midfield maybe get a few more
I feel
opportunities?
Like their midfields are very even.
Yeah, with the way they've been playing, I can understand that. Yeah. I think I'm going to go Hawthorn by 29. Let's go Hawthorn 29. Cats versus North. This is a really interesting one.
I don't think I would have ever tipped a Cats versus North to be in one of our 3 games.
Especially after their last time, because that photo, I went to that game. That was an awful day.
Yeah, did against the Doggies.
He kicked 11 and now he kicked, the 10 against the Dogs. Hopefully North put up a much better fight, but it is, again, a GMHBA, and the Cats just look a class above when a GMHBA. Of course, however, where is their ruck matchup going to come from? Who are they going to? Yeah, Tristan Sherry could eat in this one. And my thinking is, like, Shannon Neal seems to be the guy that they go to, like, as their backup at all times, while Nevitt or Edwards?
Edwards is their main ruck.
Edwards is their main ruck. He is just not experienced enough. And me not remembering his name is probably bad on me, but also gives you a sign that he's not as established as a Tristan Sherry now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go for Sam de Koning.
That would be very interesting. He's got a leap on him, and he could negate Tristan Sherry's dominance there. But around the ground, it could be interesting to see how Geelong matches up there. Of course, that's just one matchup of many. You think class and talent and all that, Cats probably have it in spades compared to North Melbourne, but the continued threat of North at the moment this year makes you think, like, how close could they make it? I'm just thinking, like, North Melbourne's game plan is very much a controlled game until they can find their opening through the middle, is what I've been able to see. Obviously, whether their skills are on point or not depends on it. But on a ground like this, with a team so ready, prepared for it, I'm worried this could be another one that gets out of hand. Not as bad as it was last year, 100-point loss, 11 goals, Jezza, but I'm very, very worried. I just hope that North can destroy the centre clearance game. That's much easier said than done with Max Holmes, Bailey Smith, Tanner Bruin playing well. Warpel, if he for some reason puts up, which I just wouldn't be surprised by if he plays a good game here. Look, I think North can put a fight up, but it's more about whether they will. Similar to the Pies in the Hawks matchup, they can be competitive. But where's the matchup that you think that Geelong could potentially take over?
I don't know. It's really tough. I'm very leaning North Melbourne.
Honestly. I want to lean North Melbourne.
I'm leaning North Melbourne because of the way Geelong played last week. But at the same time, like, Geelong don't do that 2 weeks in a row.
And they don't do it at GMHBA.
Yeah.
They just don't.
The midfield dominance you guys could have on them really leans me towards you guys. because at GMHBA you can score really heavily from stoppage, and it was a good performance from you guys. I'm just like,
North need to be clean. They've had
is Chomblin going to play,
moments.
or is Chomblin
Chom
out?
should be playing. He was a late out, so I'm assuming it was like an illness or something along those lines. But
I don't see you guys stopping Jezza, but at the same time, like I don't see them stopping Nick Larkey or anything.
North's defense has been better this year. That's the thing. So, like, I understand that
I'm gonna
Jezza
go
could
rogue.
have a day out.
I'm going to go rogue. North by 11.
Oh, mate, that would be. I would be over the moon if we somehow beat the Cats.
I'm doing it.
Let's hope that maybe the matchups work really well in North's favour, but I'm still not past the whole Geelong being really good, finding ways to get around it. I think they could. And the Sandra Koenig thing is the one that immediately comes to mind. They've got backup defenders for him. I think it's going to be Geelong in a 15-point win. I really hope it's close. Fingers crossed. But final game we're going to preview here in depth. Swans versus Dees. This is exciting.
Put your tongue back in, Chad.
He likes the kick. He clearly does. Look, I think Melbourne are continuously shocking us every week as to how good their game plan works. I just don't see Sydney letting that happen in the sense. Like Fremantle at home managed. Yeah, exactly. Fremantle at home managed to kind of quiet the D's game plan down. I think it'll be a very similar scenario for the Swans here. Yeah. I think the Swans, they're just the backup. The backline talent is good enough to stop those usual guys getting off the leash. Sydney have speed themselves to counteract Melbourne's speed.
A lot of speed.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to see how Melbourne play this one because Stephen King's impressed so far. So it'll be nice to see if something changes. We'll see. What are you thinking?
The Swans can't stop Cozzy Pickett but the Ruck battle here is going to be super good to watch.
Grundy
Gone.
Yeah, it's a classic now.
It is. Like, two best ruckmen in the game, arguably the two most informed players. Like, is Isaac Heaney going to be back this week? I don't know.
I think he could be.
So if he's back, I'm definitely tipping Sydney. If he isn't back, I'm probably tipping Sydney. That's the way I'm looking at it. I just think, Charlie Curnow should kick 5.
You'd think he'd have a good game, but Armadi could just as well kick 5 too.
I'm very confident in Sydney in this one. Just the margin sort of leaning go 22.
I'm going to go Sydney 36. I reckon they could run away with this one too.
I like it though.
Looking at the ESPN Footy Tips competition, a few ups and downs. Footy Pirate in second. That was the dude we didn't know last week. It was just as a private name, but he's gone public again. You can see our top two tippers both have a nice round 50, both with 8 tips last week. Finborough at 3 with 49, outright 49 in third place. Lachlan the Eagle at 4th with 48. JP 92 at 5th with 48. And at 167, I'm also up there at 10th right now. I believe 47 or 48. Nice. I reckon I'm not far off being here. I'm really excited for that. Well, you want to go through some other games just very quickly?
Doggies Fremantle.
That'll be Fremantle.
Yep.
That'll just be Freo because injuries.
Yep. Is it by 40 plus or not?
I would say it's going to be Freo by 55.
Oh, I'm going by 42.
Adelaide Port, this nice little showdown.
Yeah, this one's tough. Port looked really good. Adelaide didn't. I'm going Port.
I'm going to toe the line. I'm going to go Adelaide by 9.
I'm going to go Port by 9.
Essendon Brisbane?
Brisbane by 74.
I'm going to go Brisbane by 60.
Yeah, not even close.
West Coast Richmond?
Stinker.
Draw.
Can both teams lose?
No, it's going to be West Coast. It's going to be West Coast win.
It's at home for West Coast.
By 33.
Yeah, sort of similar at that. I'll go about 30.
Carlton St Kilda?
Please, can we win this?
Carlton by 1.
I'm going Saints by 21.
And Gold Coast GWS Expansion Cup.
Giants aren't good enough. Gold Coast by 17.
I'm going to go Gold Coast 26. And there we have it. That is Zero Access Footy episode number 10. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. Of course, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, subscribe. All the socials that you see scrolling past there, Instagram, TikTok, and all the other listening areas. Be sure to follow us all over there. But appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you all for another episode very, very soon. Catch you later.
Peace.